Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm going to show you how I solve the New York Times Pips game from an easy, medium, to a hard. As a bonus, we're going to do it with real dominoes on a grid of paper. Straight up IRL, no computers. If you want to learn how to play by the rules, well, head on over to Playing Games' other Pips video, where I teach you how to play in about 5 minutes. Plus, I walk through another easy puzzle. But here, you get the easy, medium, and hard. So first up, let's start with an easy. We have 4 dominoes total, and we have to use each of them, just once. We have a 3-3, a 5-3, a 3-1, and a 3-2. We only have one blank space on this puzzle right here in black. That's a space that doesn't matter. You can put in any domino face. This is a number space, another number space, a number space. These 3 here are equal, which means they all have to have the same pip face. And these 2 here should add up to 7. So we know right away that there are 2 spots that must be 3. They both say 3. We could pull 2 of the 3s to the side. Then we still have 3 other 3s. Does that mean that the equal ones could be 3? Well, let's look. Do we have 3 5s? No. Do we have 3 2s? Nope. 3 1s? Nope. So that means these all have to be 3s. And these other 2 spaces have to be 3s. We have a need for 4 3s. That means the double 3 is going to end up somewhere here, here, or here. Not there. That means we have to add numbers up to get 7 in these 2 spaces. I think that's the next best thing to look at. Given that, I would put the 3 5 here, because you're going to want a higher number here to add up to 7. If we did the 3 2, well then we could put the 5 and 3 there to make 7. Either way, let's try it like this or this. So we have the 3 in the right spot. These should add up to 7. 5 plus 2 is 7. And then we have another 3 up here in the correct spot. Now we could put the other 3 here. That satisfies this 3 and the equal 3s. And then we put that there. And that one is super easy. It wouldn't have taken more than 30 seconds if we did this straight through. So now that we've got the easy down, I think it's time to graduate to medium. And here is the medium. We have a 4-4, a 2-4, a 4-5, a 2-2, a 1-6, a 2-5, and a 3-3. So in the medium, you'll notice there are more dominoes, which means there are more spaces to fill in. We have 7 dominoes, which means we have 14 squares, each with their own set of numerical pips. As with all of these puzzles, the first thing to look for are unique zones, which indicate that we'll need to use very specific dominoes. Both of these spaces have to be 5s. So let's pull out our 5s. We have this 5 and this 5. So right away, we know that these 2 dominoes can really only go here, 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 here. So they have to go in those 2 spots. We'll set them aside. In this region, we have 4 sides that have to be equal or the same number. We know that that can't be 5s because those are taken now. They're here and here. So which 4 are equal? Let's look. We need to look for pips that are equal value and we have 4 of. So we have 3 4s. It could be this if you include it. So you can do like this, this, and this. But let's see, could it be something else? 3s? We have 2 3s. So it couldn't be the 3s. Could it be the 2s? Yes, it could be the 2s. Because you have a 5 and a 2, a 2 and a 2, and a 4 and a 2. So we're not sure which number goes there just yet. This is what makes medium a little bit harder. There's usually more than one way to look at it. We know that this could either be 4 2s or 4 4s, but we're not sure of which yet. Let's keep looking. We know that this has to be something specific here. It has to be less than 4. We know that these 3 must add up to 6. So that means it can't be a lot of big numbers. And we know that these 2 must also be equals. So we know that this is less than 4. The symbol is eating the bigger number. This black space means that any number can go there. And these 3 must also be low numbers, or at least you can't have like a 5, a 4, and a 6. That would be much higher than a 6. Now that we've analyzed this puzzle, it's time to start testing our pieces. Let's look at this corner first. That must add up to 6. Which 3 sides could add up to 6? If we split it up 3 ways, it would be 3 2s. It could also be 2 3s and a 0, but we don't have a 0, so it can't be that. If I had to guess right now, I'd say the double 2s would work best. Then we could add in this 2 4. Actually, maybe this should be here because we have 4 4s. Let's give that a shot. A 5 4 there, double 4 there. So now we have that 5 in the right spot. We have the 4 4s all equal in the equal zone there. And we have 2 2 2 adding up to 6. And that leaves us with just 3 dominoes remaining. So if we set this up right, we're good. If not, we're about to find out why not. So this can't go like that because that would only leave 1 space. There's no domino with 1 space on it. You can't lay one out of bounds like this. all of the dominoes must fit in the drawn grid, even if it's in the black spot. It would have to go instead like this. We do have this double 3 here, so that could go there, equal, and then let's see. Did we get it? This must be less than 4. The bracket is eating the larger number 4, and that means the sum of both of those regions must be less than 4. So if it's 4, 5, or a larger number, that wouldn't work as a sum. If it is 3, 2, 1, or 0, then it does work. And that's pretty easy to do because we have a 1, and 1 plus 2 is 3, which is less than 4. And we did it. That wasn't so bad. If we had made a mistake and started with a 5 and 2 there, well, we'd get tangled up at some point and realize that's the wrong domino for that space. So there is a complete medium for you. Not so bad. I'd like to say once you're familiar with this game, the easy takes about 30 seconds, medium takes a minute or two, and the hard takes just under 10 minutes. If you're really good, much less time. If you get stuck or get frustrated, probably more than 10 minutes, or you might just give up. All right, on to the next one. Okay, so now we have a hard, and as you can see, it looks hard. There are many more spaces and many more rules to deal with. So even if you have a good start on a puzzle like this, you could begin to stumble along the way, and a chain reaction could happen where it becomes really messy and out of order, and you have to reset from the very beginning. That said, if you take your time in the beginning and sort of map out your choices, it will make these more difficult puzzles a little bit easier and less frustrating. This should take more than a few minutes. It's a hard. This is for people who want a challenge. As you can see with the hard, we have many more dominoes. First, let's not worry about the dominoes. Let's look at the regions and see what jumps out at us. Right away, I can see this needs to add up to 18. That's a very specific number. Well, that's only possible with having 3 6s. 6 plus 6 is 12. 6 plus 12 is 18. Wouldn't work with any other domino sides. So we know that the double 6 has to go there, but then the other 6, we're not sure what the other end of that could be or needs to be. But look at this. The sum of this region is 0. They all have to be 0 here, including the one that came off of our 6. So right away, I know that this is the only domino that can go in this space. Even before we looked at the whole puzzle, we've got a domino in. And obviously, we know that this is going to be a 6-6. So we have a great starting place. It helps to work from the ends like this too, because you usually have a specific domino that needs to start that end. We'll want to separate our zeros out from the rest, but before we do that, let's look at this. This region of 5 spaces must all have the same pip face, the same number. They all have to be equal. So we have to find a number that we have 5 of. These regions have to add up to a sum of 2. Which means they could only be 2s, 1s, or 0s. This red set of regions here must also be an equal region. To be honest, we have a lot of equal zones. Equal, 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 and equal. And we have one not equal region. We'll get to that. We'll probably get through most of our zeros just by doing this region. This one specifically has to be 6. So that's another 6 for us. We've only got one other 6, so we know that part of that domino has to go right there in that corner. It either goes like this or like this. If it's there, that would have to be 0 because the sum of that zone must be 2. Or if it's there, we need another 2 to have those 2 spaces be the same number. Let's leave that up there for now. These two have to be not equal. That means that each square has to have a different number on it. It could be any 2 numbers as long as they're not the same number. You could have a 2 and a 3 and a 4, a 1 and a 6, a 0 and a 2, and so on. And this is just a blank region. We're off to a pretty good start, I'd say, for a hard puzzle. Now that we have these 3 in, what do we do next? Let's start to pull out the other zeros. A 0, 0, a 0, 5, and a 0, 4. There are only 3 dominoes that have zeros left, and with the double 0, that gives us 4 0 spaces. We can play around with it now. Put that one there, put that there, put that there. Testing it like this, we can see that the double 0 is probably in the right spot. But if we do the 4 0 like this, that means the rest of these regions must also be 4s. And these 3 regions must be all 5s, because they're equals, right? So how many 5s do we have? We do have quite a few. And then of the 4s, we have this one that's already there, and this one here. Okay, so that indicates that the placement here is wrong. This should go up there, that should go down there. That has less regions, and we have less 4s. That has more regions for 5s. We have more 5s. We have a double 5. The double 5 would have to go there to take up both those spaces. We could try a 5 and 1 there, but this has to add up to 2, so we would need another 1 to go there. but it might work because we have a 5-4, which could go like this. So that would satisfy the equal region of 5 spaces. They'd all be 5s. They're all the same number. They're all in the same zone. We added another 4 here, so we just need one more 4 there. This must be a 1, because 1 plus 1 equals 2. So let's look at our 1s. So we have a 1-4, a 1-3, a 1-2. We have just 3 choices for 1s. Well, we could do this. Then we have the 3 equal numbers that we need in that zone, 4, 4, and 4, and the 1 plus 1 equals 2 for the other zone on the left. That could work. Let's see if it falls apart, though. We know that this has to be 6. That could go there or here. But let's think about this. There are only so many regions left. If we went like this, that could go there. I'm putting these in just to see if they fit, not if they're perfectly aligned. Sometimes it's good just to see position-wise which way it needs to go so you don't get stuck in a rut where you have an empty space where you only have, when you need a full domino to fit in there. But it works either way here. I'm pretty sure this is the right 6, but does the 2 go here or here? If the 2 went there, that would have to be a 0 because it's a sum of 2. Aha, we know that that can't go there because we don't have any zeros. And 2 plus anything else would be more than 2. It must go this way. And we know that the region there must be equal. It must be another 2. We do have several 2 choices. We have 3, in fact. It's going to be either this one or this one, I think. We do know that this has to be the same. I'm going to guess that this is the double 3. It must go vertical. It must be the same number. It's the only double domino we have left. When I said it's a guess, I lied. That has to be this domino. Now we need to go horizontal with one of the 2s. I think this is kind of obvious now. The 2-1 must go there because the next blue region there on the right has to add up to 2. I don't want to put a big number in there. I can't put a big number in there in the blue region. So 2-1 is the only one that makes sense. So the 2 and the 2 are equals, correct? So we know that this has to be a sum of 2, so 1 plus 1 would be 2. We know that these can't be equals, so it can't be the 3-2 in that direction. Could be the 2-3 like this, and these do have to be equal. Oh no, does not work. So it's got to be this. Not equal, 3-5, not equal, 2, 2, equal, and that one doesn't matter. And we did it. All right, so I lied. It wasn't so very hard. Some of them can get really hard, but as you see, if you look at it very carefully, you can make it work for you. I think if we didn't have these starting 6s, it might have been a little more difficult. But no matter what, with a hard, you have to pick it apart logically and methodically. Not which dominoes are possible in certain zones, but which dominoes can't you put? Which dominoes can you eliminate from those zones? And then you can start to focus in on the ones that do work. So if it's impossible to put a domino in a certain position, then you can just put it off to the side and focus on the others. If you know that this other region couldn't have been anything other than 5s because we only had 5 of 5s left at that point, well, that eliminates the 4s there. You don't have to think about them as being possibly going there, or the 2s or the 3s, etc. Same thing when you have to add up small numbers. These both needed a sum of 2. I know that there are very few possibilities for those. It could either be 2 1s or a 0 and a 2. And if I don't have a 0 to play, well, then I know that it must be the 1 and 1. So just figuring out what you can't do and then looking at the options that are left is, in my opinion, the best strategy for a hard version of this game. I hope this was helpful for you. I really do enjoy this game, and I'd like to see other people play it. But let me know in the comments what you think, or if you have great strategies you want to share with us, please do. How fast can you solve them? Perhaps someday I'll even get a Discord, and we can compare our best records. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. You are great. See you next time on Playing Games.